I definitely think that, you know, in this field, any field really, the autistic people do like bring something to the table, especially like I've seen this as per example, there was a TikTok or whatever that was like, oh yeah, this is Jim, this is our numbers guy. He only does numbers. We don't have him nowhere else. So it's like even though that was before that, it's like when you think about it, it's like yeah, like some of the people that are even if it's not like my level, your level, any of the other people's levels, there's people with these type of neurodivergencies that's like, oh, they have these specific hyperfixations. So I think sometimes it can be good for like numbers and stuff. So, but you guys can make a counter argument or different type of
Yeah,
arguments. So,
but I was actually more thinking about neurodivergency, like in the work field in general. Like,
hmm
and neurodivergent doesn't just mean autism. It can
hmm
include things like dyslexia, dys dyspraxia, uh, ADHD, OCD, hyperlexia. I heard of this new. These are stuff I have never like. Uh, syn synesthesia, epilepsy, etc. All of these things can be
like
included onto the umbrella term of neurodivergent.
I
And
mean, like
what's in
synesthesia.
synesthesia, yeah.
Okay, keep going, keep going.
And what's interesting about it is two people of the same, like, no two people of the same diagnosis are the same. They can be completely different from one another,
Mhm.
and yet two people with different diagnoses can be similar. Some people with the same diagnosis can be different from one another, and there's a lot of overlap, and it's very interesting, and it's something that I've just been thinking about how when it comes to neurodivergent, there is no one size fits all solution for many different people. Not only are we still learning about it, but it's also because of that hard to pin down aspect of neurodivergency is that it just goes completely against the mindset of everything needs to have one definition of what it needs to be looked like. But it's like, if you really think about it, that's just not human because we humans are inherently different from one another, regardless if we are neurodivergent or not. We just
Mhm.
process things differently.
Exactly.
And I think, yeah, it's some people tend to forget about the individuality of people on the spectrum because, I mean, in the end, we're all still different people, very different people. And we tend to get like lumped into like I'm I mean that it really goes for everybody, but especially with disabilities or some of these other types of, I'll say, minority groups, is that sometimes they get kind of clumped together into they're all the same because their brains all work like this. It's like, no, some of us have higher or better function than somebody that might be a little bit older than us, might be a little bit younger than us, or you know, I'm trying to put the right word, but like we don't all
We're just
function the
different.
same. Exactly. And
Yeah.
some people do tend to forget about the individuality. It's just our
And
brains are just wired differently.
and it certainly doesn't help that the general public has basically been surrounded by over 100 years of negative and one-dimensional stereotypes and stigma that they think different people of one diagnosis are all the same, especially with autism. I'm like, I'm not even sure what like I don't even know why media is so obsessed with autism for some reason. But it's like
Mhm.
it makes it hard for neurodivergent people to feel accepted in the workforce because it's like the second you say something like autism, people subconsciously already have a preconception of what that is because of that history.
Yeah.
And and some and what's like and it is just what's like, yeah, it's just like,
It just, it's almost as if whenever anybody says that they're on the autism spectrum, it's almost as if they don't want to even chance it because they're like, well, we don't know if we can trust this person to be how long on this job or how long they're going to keep this thing or, and if we're really passionate about something, we will stick with it. That's what I've noticed about myself is like if I'm very passionate about something, I'll stick with it for a very, very long time. Yes, other ideas will come across later down the road, but sometimes I'm like very like purely focused on that one thing because it is my interest of that time and that
yeah.
space of
And it should be noted that simply wanting accommodations and wanting
yep.
support does not and should not equate to being lazy or giving special privileges. It's like, yes, absolutely. There will be people that will exploit systems because they just to get ahead. Like even some neurodivergent people will exploit these systems because again, we're not a monolith. But at the same time, that doesn't mean immediately writing off people the second they say they need support.
Mhm.
It's like I I feel like you can really I feel like often you can really tell when someone genuinely wants to do their job versus someone not actually doing the work with or without access needs. And most neurodivergent people want to have a job to fully express themselves and be respected in a field that they're passionate about.
That was
It's
one of the
like
problems that I had when apparently one of the they who should not be named people in the who administration decided to say, well, autistic people, he's like, oh, autistic people, they don't want to have jobs, they don't want to pay taxes, all this and that. It's like, um, if you guys actually gave us a chance, we would be able to have jobs and we would be able to pay for your taxes. So don't blame us for saying we don't want a job or say we don't want anything and having a job when we want those opportunities. It's just you won't give it to us.
Yeah, I will add, and it was kind of funny. They did have to walk that back
Mhm,
because there was such a loud outcry from not just the autistic community, but from like the general like public who have autistic family members as a whole. And it's
mhm,
just that is a fundamental misunderstanding. I
mhm,
could get into a whole thing about how, the Kennedy family,
mhm,
has a history of neurodivergence, but that said, that gets a little bit too political. Um,
mhm,
but yeah, no, but exactly it's a huge stigma, and unfortunately, it does kind of go into the politics of it too. Too
mhm.
is, but it's also because of it, you see way too many people or a lot of people who are, I don't want to say it's like a bit of an infantilization where it's kind of in two extremes. Where if you mention to somebody who's neurotypical that you're on the autism spectrum, they're like, "Oh, you can't function on yourself by yourself," or "Oh, you need a lot of these accommodations." Is like,
it's like
no,
again, it's that preconception
exactly,
from over 100 years of brainwashing practically.
exactly. Well, it's like, no, I don't need to be babied. I'm not cognitively a child.
And it's not
I'm
even just and it's not even just with people with mental stuff. It even happens with people that have physical needs going on. It's like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, like just because we look and act different doesn't mean we're stupid or anything.
well,
right,
exactly.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
with my point was, especially with my job, I'm very happy. My 9 to 5, I should say. My 9 to 5, I'm happy that they accommodate me. I just have to. It's like what you wish you could tell people is like it's not that you need to baby me. It's just you need to
Mhm,
give me a room, like a little bit of room for patience for me to process this like whole thing that's going on. Because you might be asking me, oh, I need you to do like 13 jobs, but I'm only going to explain to you. I need you to do like this one or two jobs. It's like, okay, I only got the one or two. What are the other ones?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they expect you to understand or know right away. It's like, okay, no, I need a second to process what's going on.
And yeah, and actually this kind of goes back to what I've been thinking about because it feels like our society's obsession with we want things now and now only, and a second off it's considered a failure. It's like, what the frick is wrong with us? Why do we need this? We don't need this. Like it I feel like at that point it's like are you just going to turn people into robots at this point?
I mean, they're probably going to end up giving all the jobs to the robots anyway, so it's not really like it's
Yeah.
going to really matter.
I feel like actually that's a good argument because like, or that's a good question because it kind of seemed like a lot of people want robotic efficiency for a lot of things. And I will argue to say, there are times, especially in my job, that I have been told I'm very efficient with a lot of things, and like I'm not trying to say like autistic people can bring robotic efficiency to things, but if like they know what they're doing, like when I'm like specifically pricing stuff, I can get that done like really quick. Sometimes I have coworkers that can't even get the price tags like to get on right, or they're not like done. They're never really done right, or the stock isn't stocked right. And like for me, it kind of throws me off. Like I don't like go ballistic, but
Yeah.
it kind of reflects. But I totally agree. It's like people need to understand, you know, we're not so slow that we can't function. We just need to process the situation, understand what's going on, and then if once we've done processing it, then we could probably do it more efficient than the people that are like doing it them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even and not to mention like you're inherently putting yourself in a very vulnerable position by just saying what's happening now is not working for me. And the second someone messes up or they write that person off, like that trust is broken immediately. It's like that's not always like there's not always a lot of second chances with that. But I and that exclusion in the workplace and society as a whole is a genuine problem. And I know there are going to be
Hmm.
some people, there are going to be some smart ass people that are going to say, well, but the world is inherently cruel to neurodivergent people and they don't care about your needs. And I'm just saying, so are you saying that we just need to lie down in defeat and not try and fix the problem? Are you saying that we need to remain shackled by the attitude of that's how it's always been and there's nothing you can do about it? It's like, yes, the world is cruel, but that doesn't mean we don't try to create supportive communities and an inclusive workplace. In fact, making it more inclusive benefits everyone, not just
Yes.
neurodivergent people.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, and I know ironically we mentioned, oh, I don't want to get political because we mentioned like the head of the Department of Health, but somebody mentioned this, somebody brought this up in a video I watched a little while back about how um all these like inclusive, like I don't want to say bills, it's not just bills, but like measures. Like take I guess what am I trying to say like handicap ramps and all
Hmm.
this kind of stuff. I guess that's a good example. Handicap ramps, elevators, cell phones, video games. Like there are fundamental things that not fundamental, but there are things that seem mundane to us now, but are for everyday life that we use that were made to help people that didn't have the access to some of these other things to use. If I remember correctly, I remember something about it was the same video also mentioned, touch screens or another way that was accessibility type help. And there's just a lot of these measures to help people that need the accessibilities or all these extra like needs. Also, yeah, they also benefit, the majority. I say the majority, but they benefit the neurotypicals and they don't even realize it. They take it for granted and they don't think, if we don't have because innovation, what is it? Innovation or the problem? Something is the father of invention. Because if you have a problem and somebody needs help or something needs to be done, necessity, I think necessity is the mother of invention. And that's when you get like situations like that because you probably wouldn't have a bike lane. You probably wouldn't have sidewalks. You probably wouldn't have all this other stuff if we weren't trying to look out for the people that needed that.
Yeah.
So,
And also with examples of how you could make an inclusive workplace, like having clear communication, like giving specific names or not giving long instructions. Um, like some preferring phone calls and face-to-face meetings, and having that, or even having timed to-do lists like of what to do. Like you do this week, you do something this week, and you do something this month. Like that stuff is not only accessible, that can be helpful not just to neurodivergent people, but also just people in general. Those are examples of that can help. Like it helps everybody. It literally helps everybody.
Yeah, it does. And the thing is that, like, yes, I know people who are on the autism spectrum need accommodations, and it's important that we have those accommodations. And it's important, personally for me, I work better with a regular schedule because that way I can plan my week when I have a regular schedule and I know how things work at the job, then I can understand to have a regular schedule. Once I have something regularly going, then it works better for me because that's how I know I can plan my day out. And that's been helpful for me.
Yeah.
So,
And what some people don't realize is that the workplace is actually way more adaptable than people realize. Like, for example, when COVID happened and everybody had to
mhm,
work from home, it's like we are making adjustments all the time in
yep,
the not like in the workplace and also in our day-to-day lives.
yeah,
So accommodating neurodivergent people or other people in general is literally no different. But of course, it becomes complicated because of society's tendencies to put everything into boxes to make things more simpler. And sure, that has its place, but it's stretched
yeah,
so far to the
mhm,
point where sometimes it's not about simplifying things.
mhm,
It's about mechanizing things. It's like you don't want to change, you don't want to be different because now the good enough attitude is becoming very infectious and invasive.
yeah. And the thing is that the more they want to go with this whole robotic, the more they want to go robotic, and the more that they want to use AI, and the more they want to use these things more and more and more. I mean, how in the world can a person now these days without getting like if you need like a chat, like if when you have a chat when you're needing to chat with someone on something to help you with something, how many times nowadays do we see it today that it's AI now? It's all an AI
Yeah.
chat box now. It's not even an actual, like, it's not actually a person anymore. It's kind of sad to think about.
Yeah. Like it's really weird now. I don't like I said, I kind of feel like um our weird obsession with everything needing to be instantaneous is just like you're kind of you're deflecting your humanity, frankly. You're like rejecting your humanity
And that's
because
and
it's
that's
like people are different. People focus differently.
mhm.
People they do things differently.
Yeah.
And I don't know why like okay, so it should be noted that some people are open about their diagnosis, but some
Mhm.
are not. Like, for example, I'm open that I do have autism, but I know that some people are not. Like,
Mhm.
some people don't want to be seen as a label. Like, I get it. And
Yeah.
so I think that, and I even heard this perspective, and it does have a very interesting point that there is value in like not needing to disclose someone's neurodivergency or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because not only is there so much baggage with just disclosing who you are, but also the process of being diagnosed is stupidly long to the point where
Yeah.
trying to make adjustments takes a very long time for any professional to get back to you and say, like, you have this. So, yeah, maybe don't ask what's your diagnosis because that's already very uncomfortable. And
Mhm.
most people in normal circumstances wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I have such and such this. It's like, we don't need that.
Yeah. And I think that, like, for me personally, it took me a while to just accept my diagnosis. For a while. It took me a while just to accept it. I mean, I got to the point where I did accept it, but at first it was just really hard to take in of like, what's my life going to be like? What's it going to be? You know, will I be able to get a job? Will I be able to go to college? Will I be able to do these things? Yes, I can do those things, but it's just a matter of when is the right time for it to happen. Because I've I've tried doing community college. Sadly, it didn't work out. I tried even going to regular film school. It didn't work out. And so the more I think about, okay, what works and what doesn't work, it's a matter of sometimes you need to take opportunities where opportunities arise.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel about the situation of all of that. So
I
It's
feel
just
like go ahead, Jenna.
oh, just simply trying to find that community that will that will be open to any sort of suggestion that you have, or if you notice something is up or something that you feel is not right, they'll be happy to listen and make changes if needed.
Yeah, and I feel like
true.
maybe in your situation, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, and is possibly some of the colleges or the film schools like weren't willing to along with that, work along with you,
Mm.
and which is it's
Well, I just
unfortunate.
I just talked to somebody at Macomb.
Oh, cut out,
Oh,
right, row.
okay. Well,
But I wanted to mention something because you mentioned it kind of in passing, Jenna. Is that you mentioned FaceTime? FaceTime, that's a good example of another accessibility that
yeah.
a lot of people take for granted nowadays because especially with video calls, like nobody like really thinks about how like beneficial it is because if I remember correctly, video calls are actually meant more for sign language and stuff,
Mhm.
but people just kind of took them for what they were. John, we lost you in the call. You came back. Do you want to finish your sentence?
Yeah, I was saying like when I was talking to someone at Macomb a while ago, they did say you can get accommodations for if you're on the spectrum, but you have to bring in your paperwork. And that makes sense
Well, oh
because they
yeah.
don't want to give someone accommodations if they, I'm not saying if they don't need it, but if it's not like a total necessity. Because I don't think it's a matter of like we want to make this person. I don't know. I think it was because I just grew up being homeschooled all my life, and then I was just jumping into the idea of going to school, having to actually be in a class, having to do this and that and the next thing. It was just honestly for me, it was just kind of a mess, and I was like, no, I don't.
And
It's probably it was probably a little bit of a whiplash for you from going from like homeschooling to like community college or like a full
Oh
like
yeah.
school. So I like that's going to be my argument. I'm not trying to put you down on that, but like I feel like
Oh
that
no,
was probably it's a not cultural whiplash, but there's a other type of whiplash to it. But whiplash is the good like example.
yeah, and
yeah.
actually I did hear about this another method that workplaces can do. Not only could they have clear inclusive communication and also have to-do lists of what they can do for this day or week or this week or this month. It's from a short called Working Differently. I think I actually sent you and John the link yesterday. They mentioned something called Access Writers, which is a document that is given to people to fill out once they are employed. So it's not part of the application or interview process. And it's essentially where they list what they need in order to work at their best and most comfortable. And again, this is not about giving special privileges. It's about finding that it's about finding that middle ground
Yeah.
where the business finds out what this person needs in order to focus while also delivering the task on time. It's like that, like we can work. It's like we can still do the work like everybody else. We just need the right opportunity. We need the right environment to to unleash our full potential.
Yeah, and unfortunately in some jobs they're not willing to give the opportunity. I remember in my when my was trying to work at for Dollar General, it was just taking me a little bit longer to understand the thing because nobody felt like nobody was training. I felt like nobody trained me, and then they're like, "Well, we're not doing enough for us, so we're gonna let you go." And it's like, but I've been trying. It's just like the guy who's training me left for a whole hour, my first hour of my job, my like first day there. So it's like at least with like when I was dishwashing or when I'm working because I've been working at the cheese shop for like almost 3 years. You know, they understand. Sometimes it takes a second. I mean, dishwashing that's simple enough, but like working retail cut with customers, stocking, all this kind of stuff. That's it took me a second to get it all down, and I'm glad that at least my job was able to work with me. But unfortunately, some of all these like corporate jobs, these bigger, I mean, there's people with autism in corporate jobs. I mean, like corporated corporate retail jobs. I say that ironically because I know there's like some people on the spectrum at Walmart and Target or whatever. I think it was just Dollar General specifically.
Yeah,
Honestly, I pity anyone who used to work at Dollar because I used to work at Dollar General many years ago. I just pity anyone who works at that place now. I just pity them all. It's
Yeah,
just so.
I didn't know if it was just a specific like manager, but like I just remember it just being kind of a crap hole.
I mean, my manager there was really nice and everything, and then yeah, let's just say stupid things happen.
Yeah, that's understandable. It
Yeah,
happens. It's sad. It's sad like the people that would like be willing to give you the opportunities or whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna say you don't need to divulge it in case if it's like a personal thing, obviously.
Yeah. It's
But
like sometimes, like I said, sometimes it is like sometimes really not needing to disclose your diagnosis can be beneficial because, like I said, there's already a ton of stigma with that kind of stuff. So, like, simply just asking people, what is your preferred method of communication? And are there any changes we can make to help you work a bit easier? Or asking what their access needs are before they say they have any. That
Mhm.
can make a world of difference for so many people. And
Yeah.
like I said, these methods benefit literally everybody. It's like I'm specifically talking about movie and TV show production, but this could also
Hmm.
work with any other job and in real life. It's like it's already stressful and overwhelming as it is. So it's like having conversations to say that I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. I need a breather. And
Hmm.
even employers checking in every once in a while just to make sure everyone is okay. It's like this isn't hard, guys. You're not like breaking any rules or anything. You're not giving people special privileges. You're just being a decent human being.
Yeah, and
yeah,
and that's really hard to come by in this corporate day.
yeah, and I appreciate like yeah, sometimes just some managers or whatever are checking in. Obviously, my my store managers, I think they're still trying to get me. Like I just remember it was a Thursday. We had a big stock day, and the manager was like, "Have you been in for a stock day before?" It's like I have several times. It's just you haven't seen me because I haven't been in for a couple weeks. I haven't been
Hmm.
in on Thursdays or stock days for a couple weeks.
Hmm.
And then I like blew through the whole like stock that we needed to do that day. So it was just kind of it's kind of funny. Like I felt like a little bit underestimated or like not underestimated, but um there's a different word for it. But I felt a little bit put down, but
Um,
that's a little bit that's beside that point. But
Yeah.
I think like the core of how I would feel about a lot of this is more just a lot of businesses or fields taking like giving people that are on the spectrum just the like second to not I guess breathe would be one way to
mhm.
say it, but process a second to process the situation. So
And
they're not
also
just yeah, they're not just
and
jumping
also
into it.
just and also just clearly telling them what they need to do. Just clear like give them like just give them simple instructions on what they need to do and clearly tell them that and we'll do it. We'll
Yeah,
literally do it.
yeah.
And I
And
think
also,
that's go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say like and also just having flexibility for just to work on things. And like I said, like I know for some people, like if if there's like a very long period of time without much work, it's like we won't be able to do it until last minute. It's like I said, a lot of these things many people can relate to, and
Hmm.
that accommodation of like just being aware of this stuff is
Hmm.
beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, and I understand in some parts of even like certain singular businesses. My work, I really don't handle shipments because sometimes my brain just gets 97 different directions and it might be asking for something that's not physically in the shop itself, but like we can order it. But I'm like because I didn't ask right away because sometimes I'm just a little bit like I don't want to say too prideful or too nervous to ask. I'll try to look for it before, might be a little too late for that. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's I
Honestly,
kind
I
of
wish I
fall into
could.
that.
Honestly, I wish I could have like more job stories of job experiences, but I kind of really don't have much. All I ever had experience of a job experience was a summer work program where I worked at I worked at it was like a once a year thing for the summer. I worked at a initially I worked at a greenhouse and a convenience store, and it's mostly just through that summer program that I was able to learn stuff. And like, I don't know, even then, I wish I could have more to say, but that's kind of all my experience with it. But
Yeah.
I most certainly do have stuff to say on this.
Yeah,
It's
and
not a matter of just, people having jobs in the industry of, regular industry or film industry, but you know, they don't even give us opportunity to create something that we know could be successful. I mean, we didn't even get, Love on the Spectrum US until Australia came up with the idea. And then America's like, "Oh my word, this show was so popular. Let's get America on the train."
Yeah, that's it's kind of ironic. America will literally not do anything until other countries do something. It's really weird. What the what? I I think
Yeah,
that says something about us.
it really
shoot.
does. I mean,
Yeah.
Maybe we're just not that creative. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
everybody's
Oh
so
my God.
creative.
Yeah.
Except America. No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Nah, just kidding.
they're wrong.
Yeah,
I
but
really don't know.
all we're literally saying is like, there's literally nothing wrong with being open-minded towards different
Mhm.
people and how they work and process information. And sometimes just simply talking about it is enough for people. Like just being open towards these people. It's like you're not giving special privileges just by talking to people. And again, yes, there are plenty of examples of people exploiting the system, but if that's all you ever know, it's like it's you're going to turn into a cynic at any moment now and not and that's all you're ever going to know really without like getting to know different people.
Hmm.
I mean, look at all these things like before. I mean, think about like a time before we had things like, like Pokemon or Star Wars or like all these things that, like we didn't have those things. Those things took risks. And I think the problem is the film industry today does not want to take risks. And
Yeah.
since they don't want to take risks, then they don't want to take risks with people who are on the spectrum who might even have a good idea.
I'll say sometimes I'll make a counter argument, but also an agreement. Counter argument is we are having a little bit more of a kind of a risky type of subject matter. I mean, look at Thunderbolts. That has not only is it not bad guy wins, but good guys fight bad guy. It was kind of a twist on the formulas, former bad guys, even though that was done but it wasn't tackling the same stuff that the last movie did. You
Yeah.
take you take Superman in a very politically charged time.
Hmm.
We kind of go back to the roots of Superman and a child from a different world, different country, where you're being sent on a mission for something I can't spoil in case, even though it's like a month old movie. And then Fantastic Four is kind of a return, not a return, but it goes from we've had like 20 plus years of all these like very cookie cutter superhero movies, and everybody hates each other. Everybody can't stand each other, but this is a family.
Yeah.
This is a family of scientists.
Hmm.
This is and they know what they're doing. And
Yeah.
like it wasn't efficient because something happened to break like the stuff that they were trying to work on. So
Yeah.
like they this summer's movies, and we can talk about this in like a blockbuster type, episode two. This
Mhm.
summer's movies especially kind of broke the norm when it came to big superhero the bad guy loses for the 9 billionth time or whatever. The superhero wins. I mean, that's
Mhm.
why unfortunately that's why like Infinity War and Endgame were so popular because Thanos as a character was so compelling to people and he won in more one way or another, or like he
Mhm.
was very victorious in some cases, and a lot of people saw liked something about that as bad as that is. Especially we kind of can see it now. Not going to get further into that part, but you know, and that's why we have um sorry, oh, that's why we had all these villain origin story movies. Because that was a
Mhm.
risk to be like, let's humanize the villain.
Mhm.
They did in the comics like 20, 30 years ago. I could get more into that too about how that was a huge risk 20,
Yeah.
30 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. Some of these things are taking risks and some of these things are working. They were working. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that this trend that was happening this past summer
Mhm.
keeps going on because
Mhm.
it's good to have that we have some of these movies that are dealing with kind of deeper subject matter like mental health
Mhm.
or your where you come from doesn't matter. It's who you choose to be, or
Mhm.
even with the greatest of odds against you, don't back down. I'm trying to remember. There's the message like at the end of the movie from like the news reporter guy that like really
Mhm.
hit. Again, but it's like a small group of people can make a big change. That's a thing. Okay,
Yeah.
back to the rest. And
Yeah,
I kind of wish that some studios would give people like at least vocally announce. I mean, obviously we have some of these film festivals like with what Nick Novicki has done that has given neurodivergent people a voice, but in a way that's not very putting something on a pedestal, like you're showing off a chihuahua or a dog or whatever. Not like that way, but like, hey, here's a big group of people. These are really cool people that happen to be on the spectrum that worked on this film or worked on this thing. You need to work with them, give them more job opportunities. Sorry. That's what I
yeah,
wanted to say on that part.
yeah. But actually, going a little bit into that risk-taking factor, it's like,
Mhm.
well, that's if they do it right, because when they actually do attempt to take risks, they have a one step forward, two steps back mentality of, well, we kind of do, but not really, sort of attitude.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's like, what's the point? Why are you doing this other than to give yourself a pat on the back for doing the bare minimum?
It's
Yeah. And
unfortunately it's true.
that is unfortunately true because it's like, one of the problems that I have with like for example, when Disney does their whole, Pride thing, for example, not that I'm against Pride or anything, obviously, but like
It's a
when you
transactional
say
thing.
when you say like, yeah, we'll give you a collection of stuff, merchandise that has rainbow stuff on it, and we'll give you guys like one night that is called Pride Night at Disneyland, and then that's all you get.
Literally,
You don't
and
even get a movie. You don't get nothing else. You
that's
just
how
get that and that. Yep.
corporations are though. It's an unfortunate thing. It's and we're okay. It's probably okay that we give Disney or all these other corporations crap. Look at Target.
Hmm.
Target is a prime example.
Hmm.
You know, not to get into the nitty-gritty politics of it slightly, but for years they had a much larger Pride section
Hmm.
in the store. In the past
Hmm.
year or two, kind of gotten a lot smaller. So
Hmm.
like maybe just like a little cart that they have. Tiny, tiny section. But it's all transactional. Disney's whole like pride celebrations are all transactional. We know everybody knows this. Disney plays both sides. It's like an open
Well, if you
secret
really
that
think about
way.
it, if you really think about it, everybody, all sorts of corporations and these big institutions, like they're always playing both sides. They're always trying to like basically like adapt in the worst possible way imaginable.
I mean,
Yeah.
literally, I mean, and I'll say this as somebody that works in kind of a red town, a blue dot in a red town, sometimes you have to kind of, I'm not saying give up your morals, but like don't announce your politics out to the world. Keep it vague because then, from a business standpoint, this is only purely a business standpoint.
Yeah.
You don't announce your politics out to the world, then it won't alienate, customer bases or whatever. And
And
that's
that's
why,
pretty much
yeah,
and
no,
that's pretty much the and that's pretty much the key there. It's like you don't need to be so upfront about who you are or like you don't need to be upfront about your diagnosis in order for people to like get it or whatever. It's like and
Yeah.
actually to round this off because we're kind of nearing the end here, going back to what what workplaces can what workplaces can do to be more potentially be more inclusive if they want to. I don't know. But they
Yeah.
can not only can they take things on a case by case basis because once again people are different. Uh they can also and not only can they need to have clear communication on what people need to do and also to-do lists on what they need to do for a week or a month or whatever. And it's also just be supportive to people when they need support. Be
Yep.
inclusive and especially be patient. It's like any change like that is valuable. And but like after all, you are in a new environment. You're often in a new environment with new people, so giving them time to process is key. And
exactly.
and
Hmm.
especially just simply talking to people and discuss what they need to fulfill their role in a comfortable manner because there's always a solution. And for
Yep.
every accommodation that you make, you are make you and having more different people on your team, like you learn stuff. That's how you learn. That is how you learn something. That's how
Yep.
you get more experience. And with that, you're able to tell more unique stories and complex characters for many people to feel seen and normal. It's like after all, the best way to learn is to meet new people and experience new things and not stay a cynic for the rest of your life. Like I know it's so easy to do that now, but it's like come on, it's actually becoming very tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a kind of a thing that nobody wants to really interact with each other anymore. That is the reason why we're having so many people not helping other people out, maybe training or because everything's so like I don't want to say politically charged, but there's like a little bit of a charge there.
But
Or
well,
just now it's not political. It's not political. It was the
it's not
wrong word.
even it's not even just like that. It's just everybody is so drama centric now. Everybody just wants to cause drama every 20 seconds because they want to have their like there's like they want their not 15 minutes of fame, 15 seconds of fame because
Really.
that's how long it actually is. And
Hmm.
that's why I feel it is so important now for just having basic empathy and compassion. It's like that. We need more of that. We really do. It's
Yeah.
like you're not being like, again, you're not giving people special privileges for being empathetic and compassionate. It's like that has nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna be real cheesy when they say that. That's the new punk rock, though.
Yeah,
They,
pretty much.
they,